Had a great day yesterday celebrating Global Beatles Day, and I hope you did too. And to be honest with you, the celebration continues today and most likely tomorrow. But what I did yesterday was I made a journey to Amoeba Music Store in Hollywood, right at the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Argyle. But the best thing about yesterday was the fact that my oldest son joined me on my journey in that celebration. Okay, because that's a great big store there, and you can spend the whole day. They got all kinds of music, all kinds of artists, they got merchandise, they got books, they got posters, they got movies, they got vinyl CD, they got all kinds of music from all kinds of different artists. And there was a little bit of a line to get in there, and I missed out on some of the good stuff that some of the people who were there first got, but I still got a poster. Okay, but you know what, that's cool. That's fine, because you're really there to just kind of soak up the vibes. Because when you walk in there, all these people, they're, got their Beatles gear on, and it's mostly young people, not olds like me. I was in the minority, I'm telling you. There's mainly like young folk there, okay? And even younger than my son was there, which is fantastic. And they had the Beatles music playing like the whole time I was there. I think I was there like for a couple of hours or so, and Beatles music was playing the whole time. It was very crowded, and I'm looking at all the gear, and it was such a great vibe, and everybody was very up and happy and talking and looking at the merch and everything. I'm looking at the vinyl there, and when I first got there, I was looking at the Beatles vinyl and also the John, Paul, George, and Ringo vinyl, and they had some Beatles vinyl. I didn't get any, I didn't want to buy any of their vinyl there, but when I come back later, about like an hour and a half later to look, okay, a lot of it was gone. So the Beatles did pretty good selling their vinyl yesterday at Amoeba Music Store. But like I said, for the most part, I was just gaga. It was such a good feeling there. Everybody was excited. Everybody was looking at this stuff. Everybody's talking about the Beatles, etc. And I didn't realize, though, that somebody from the AP was there, okay, conducting interviews. I had no idea until later on. Okay, I just thought that these people were just YouTubers, setting up with their little teeny cameras there and with their microphones, just talking to people. I thought that it was like Beatles. This is Southern California, it's Hollywood, and that's what you expect. So somebody's just doing this in the store. It's just very casual. It's just very random. Okay, I didn't take any pictures necessarily in the store, but I was. But me and my son wound up being in the background of a couple of those interviews. Well, unbeknownst, because I had no idea that he was conducting interviews. But the cool thing about it was this little kid there, like talking all about the Beatles record. He knew the early Beatles records. He was all excited about it. It was so bitchin' to see that. And I absolutely loved it. Another cool thing about there, when I was there, the first part, because we were there for like an hour or so, then we left and we came back. But the first part, of being there, the first hour or so I was there, there was a John Lennon impersonator there. And I saw him and I go, oh, look at that. What is happening? It was really cool. Okay, it was fantastic. And he was everybody's taking pictures with him. You didn't want to bug him or anything like that. I felt like a fool. Okay, but everybody's saying, hey, John, take a picture with me. So I did the same thing. I got up my courage and I was just dying. And my son was taking the picture and he was dying too, because he was making these John faces. It was a great day. Everybody was up. Everybody was happy. And the interviews, they were saying, okay, what do the Beatles mean to you? What do they mean in your life? And everybody's all upbeat, like all you need. It was a great day. Can you tell? I'm still kind of Twitter-pated from it. And then, like I said, we were there for an hour or so. Then we went and we had lunch. And this is when my son said, hey, Mom, I was kind of surprised the diversity in the ages there at the record store. And I go, yeah, like the Beatles are really trying to get like the younger generation on board. And you know what? The Beatles are always going to be relevant. The Beatles are the perfect people to speak to the young people, because they're probably not going to get any older people maybe. Okay. If you're not God already, you're probably not going to get God. Okay. But the young people who are open and receptive and positive are going to hear this message and take it on board. So the Beatles are the perfect influence for the younger generation. That's my opinion anyway. And that's what it sounded like when I'm listening to people talk there. It was such a great vibe. And then after we had lunch, we walked around the corner. We went up to Hollywood and Vine, just a block away. Okay, Hollywood and Vine is just a block away from the Amoeba Music Store. And just a block in the other direction is the Fonda Theater, where Paul McCartney played in concert earlier this year. And Amoeba Music Store, Amoeba Music Store Ringo Starr has a relationship with Amoeba Music because Ringo is local there in LA, and Ringo makes appearances there. And he had a listening party there in 2024 for his Crooked Boy EP. But anyway, so me and my son, we go up to Hollywood and Vine, and then we go up Vine Street, just like a block. Everything's like within walking distance. The Pantages Theater, the Hollywood Walk of Fame is all right there. All the stars on the sidewalk there. You got all these stars, new and old, all kinds of like recording stars, movie stars. But I'm going up to Capitol Records there, up Vine Street, because I know that the Beatles stars are right there in front of the Capitol Records building. And so they're there. This is the first time I've ever seen that. Not the first time I've seen Capitol Records. Okay, I've been in the area, but first time I actually walked right there in front of Capitol Records and seen the Beatles individual stars there. The first of the 4 Beatles stars in front of the Capitol building is John's. His star was placed in 1988. Then George's star, his was placed in 2009. Then Ringo's star, 2010. And then Paul's, 2012. And right next to Paul's is Buddy Holly's. I wish I'd gotten a picture of that, like Buddy Holly's being right next to Paul. Now, I didn't get a picture right in front of the Capitol Records building because, my God, you can't, it's so tall. You can't do it. So I had to walk up the street and then walk across the street, and I got a couple pictures of it. And then my son took a picture of me standing in front of the Capitol building. It's really cool. It was one of those type of days, it really was. Now and then we walked back to Amoeba Music Center, and then spent a little bit more time there, soaking up more vibes, etc. It wasn't as crowded. The Beatles music wasn't playing, but it still had the good vibes in the air. Like I said, it was a really great day. And that's when I picked up a couple of these magazines, a couple of Mojo magazines here. Now, they had a lot of magazines. Okay, it was really interesting. And I looked through some of them now that it was kind of like less crowded. So I was able to pick up a couple of these Mojo magazines. The first one here is the Magical Mystery Tour special. This is from, I believe, 2012. Okay, so it's all full of Beatles. All kind of great photos of the Beatles. It's in like perfect condition. And some of the photos here I haven't seen. And it's all Beatles. It's not just like one, it's just not one section. The whole thing is Beatles. It's fantastic. I really love that magazine. But then there's this other one here from March of 2007. It is the Sgt. Pepper Anniversary Edition Mojo magazine. And it's a beautiful magazine. I mean, look at that. I mean, I could not resist. So that's what made me open it up. And yeah, it's mainly Sgt. Pepper. And it's not all Beatles though, and there's this mainly a Sgt. Pepper, but there is this one section in here where they specifically talk about the satellite broadcast, June 25th, 1967, where the Beatles first perform All You Need Is Love. And they talk a little bit about it here. So I just want to read this out loud because it's really great. Keith Moon, Eric Clapton, Graham Nash, Keith Richards, plus wives and girlfriends. Quote, everyone we asked came along, says Tony Bramwell. Nobody said no, unquote. The musicians' deference to their scene's leaders was demonstrated by the fact that even Mick Jagger seemed happy to sit at the Beatles' feet. To minds unaffected by Sgt. Pepper's wonders, the words of All You Need Is Love must have sounded laughably banal. To the converted, this was more evidence of the Beatles' unique talent for couching the profound in breezy simplicity. Quote, there was a tremendous feeling that they really did believe this, says Barry Miles, and they'd very consciously written an anthemic piece that could be understood worldwide. This was the first time TV had been beamed to so many countries, and obviously most of the listeners wouldn't be English speakers. They wrote something really, really basic, and yet still got the countercultural message across, unquote. See, I mean, we weren't there. Okay, unfortunately, most of us weren't there. It was a special time, Summer of Love, 1967, psychedelic. What he talks about there, it made me feel what I was kind of feeling yesterday. That uplifting, kind of a naive feeling that good things are possible. Like all you need is love. and that, very simplistic, but you believe it. When everybody was happy, everybody was upbeat, and that and the young people were there, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody was wearing their Beatles gear, and they were looking at all the Beatles stuff and all excited about it and talking about this. You could hear little snatches of conversation. Everybody was smiling. It was just fun. It was a great day. Everybody carrying around Beatles stuff, and the John Lennon impersonator right there was so fantastic. It was such a great day. It was just a wonderful day. You just had that feeling just wash over you, and then you go over the rest of the day feeling that buzz, and that's what I'm saying. Probably going to continue today because I'm still got that little bit of a buzz on. So, and I hope you have that same buzz. Thanks so much for being here with me today. I really and truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace, baby, and love one another. Take care.
Hello? Is this mic on? Good. Just put on in something. No, I think it's just on. Okay, just shout it. Okay. Yeah. Ready?